Hello, 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 hello. Okay, that's enough. Hi, hello, welcome to another video. If you're new here, if you're new here, you know the deal, and if you're a returner, you know the deal. I could reduce it. I mean, honestly, I'm talking about the 5 days. It starts at like 5 minutes, I think. It defaults to 5, and then I change the minutes to days. Today's ICC was supposed to be a berry acai, and the sticker says berry acai, but it's actually black cherry. And I drank like half of it, and then I filled the rest up with water, so it's like half diluted. Also, my background is the Sanctuary of Truth in Thailand, and I was gonna mention it yesterday because I noticed it and it caught my attention, but I forgot to notice it. And then when I turned on my laptop today, it was still the same Sanctuary of Truth. So I was on a walk today. I saw a deer. I was like sending Eve a thing talking about how like I've been carrying sticks on my walks lately, and usually they're like fairly straight. So and non-elaborate. So it's like, oh, a little walking stick type situation to be my companion on my walk. But today's stick was kind of crazy. It was like, branches and branches. And then I was showing her, and then like literally this white-tailed deer just like runs by. And as I'm like talking about, because there were people out there today, I was like, do I look like a weirdo? Not that I necessarily matter. Like, my threshold is low. You know what I mean? I feel like I can only care so much before I run out of cares. And then it's just like, it is what it is. I am who I am. And it was just like staring at me as I was like talking to her. I was like, oh my gosh. And it's funny because yesterday when I was on a walk, I was thinking about them a lot because I was like, where do they like live? There is like a wooded, forested area right next to it on the left. But I was just like, where do they like live? Because they don't sleep in here. You know what I mean? I mean, at least I don't think they do. I don't know what they do when the gates close, but it just like ran out. And also, we saw the zebra yesterday, but it was giving me like doe-eyed energy. And then the doe was there today. And then with the stick that I was holding, I wasn't necessarily like, oh, like maybe it thinks that I'm some kind of like buck or whatever, because I got like, they're not like antlers, but it was like a branchy stick. And she was looking at me, and I'm like, girl, that's. Anyway. And then, like, I turned around, and she was gone. She was gone, 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 gone. So, what are we doing? I think I want to do that thing again. And then the middle card. So I'm going to look for the other side of the deer. But this time I kind of want to take into account the animal that's the mirror. And I feel like there was something else I was going to do. I don't remember. Hopefully this one won't be like 4 hours long, but que sera, sera. If it is, it is. Also, good news, the lion. I don't know. Lion is gonna, because of food dogs, Lion is gonna have an interesting, and it also like it makes so much sense why lion imagery can be so relevant. The mouse and the spider web. Excuse me. The mouse and the spider web is such an interesting energy because mice carry the energy of like pests. but you're not gonna catch a mouse in a web. Okay. The fox and the mouse. But a fox can catch a mouse. Ooh, look at that. I'm like, oh my. Hello? There we go. I do have the tea leaf fortune cards. The snake just flipped over. Snake will definitely catch a mouse. Snake came out and the sea serpent is at the bottom of the deck. And they're like spinning in opposite directions. That makes me think of this energy of superimposition that's kind of sort of been coming out alongside that collision or cohesion with the bell that brings the physical and intangible into the universe as it pulses out or chimes out or whatever. And it makes me think of the image that came to mind of those like raging winds that were blowing through the trees, collecting over the surface of the water, but they weren't disturbing the water. And if they were on like the same plane, it's like the winds were moving with such a velocity that it would be impossible to not disturb the water. You know what I mean? They're just like moving like that. I feel like all of the let's do this just evaporated out of my body. And I'm like, also, though, my allergies are like starting to allergy. It's lawn care season, lots of grass. I closed my window. Okay, all right. The starfish is under the sea serpent. I kind of wanted to use decks over here today. I don't know what else I want to use. We did see the sanctum of truth or sanctuary of truth. Maybe we can like get a little bit of info on why it's called that. Sanctum of absolution. Crimson Desert. What? What is that? Oh, Crimson Desert must be like a thing. Sanctums of absolution, benediction, expiation, penitence, temperance, atonement, temperance, deliverance. What's expiation? Sanctum of truth, Thailand. Pattaya, that's what it is. Pattaya. The largest wooden castle. Interesting. Okay, this is in. Say what we will about Google, but sometimes I auto translate, even if it ain't perfect, it helps. The largest wooden castle in the world. And it's so funny because I just saw an image and I was like, that's a lot of wood. And then we have the largest wooden castle in the world. Sanctuary of Truth. I want to know why it's called that. An unfinished museum. A hybrid of a temple and a castle that is themed on the Ayutthaya kingdom and of Hindu and Buddhist beliefs. The Buddha. 13 hectares of land. Construction first began in 1981. Cool. I just want to know why truth. Oh, this year is the earliest it'll be complete. Interesting. From 1981 to 2026, that's 45 years. 45 was the number yesterday, wasn't it? What was 45 yesterday? Ouroboros? Was Ouroboros 45? I think so. Because 44 was 44 Margarita Preciosa? It was one of the two cards. I don't think it was Breath, so it had to be Margarita Preciosa. The new pearl. Anyway. Yeah, we're gonna put these back. I'm gonna see what's around the deer, and we'll just go from there. Cool. The vulture and the starfish. The nightingale and the starfish. Uno más. The dragonfly and the nightingale. Interesting. I saw a not dragonfly fly today. What does that mean? That means I don't think it was a dragonfly, but it was so quick. I was like, is that a dragonfly? We'll cut it there. Okay, so we're going to top and bottom, top and bottom, top and bottom until I find the deer. But then also I want to keep going because I want to see what is at the middle. The sea serpent and the octopus, the bat and the tarantula, the owl, and the crocodile. The lizard and the gazelle, the shark and the beaver, the stingray and the deer. Interesting. We saw a stingray yesterday. On the other side of the deer is the stingray, the zebra, and the fox. So it's shark, stingray, zebra, and then beaver, deer, fox. Fire ants and the lion, eagle and the turtle, frog and the hawk, hyena and the panther, buffalo and the dolphin, moth and scorpion, firefly and elk, fish and golden egg, crow and bear, unicorn and cheetah, otter and rabbit, horse and nightingale, lamb and dragonfly, phoenix and the snake, peacock and the swan, raccoon and the hummingbird, whale and the starfish, black egg and the earthworm, oyster and the butterfly, spider and the elephant. Definitely not going to catch an elephant in a spider's web. Vulture and the cobra, cosmic egg and the mouse, wolf and the tiger, bumblebee and the camel. I don't know if we've seen the bear. Dragon. Is this the dragon? I'm pretty sure we haven't seen the dragon. It's the dragon. Interesting. The dragon is the mirror. And now there's dragon decks I could use. Are we diluting the truth today? It was like half full before I refilled it up with water. Not to give the illusion that it was full, but to get some extra hydration because my throat was dry and I went walking without water. Camel and the bee. See, it's interesting that it's the eye of the dragon. Especially because it's it was the eyelashes, but the eyes of the zebra and the deer. Excuse me. Sanctum of Truth with the deer, the stingray, and the stingray is all about, especially in this deck, chakratic alignment. It may be the Magical Dimensions Oracle cards and activators that has the word like chakratic in it, and I was like, okay, girl, I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong. See, it reads like an individual would be the stingray. The deer is the deer, which is, an animal. But maybe it's the energy of the sanctum of truth. It feels like the deer is the dragon, but it reveals its truth to those in some kind of alignment. Right? The deer peeps this alignment and then reveals that it's this dragon. And maybe it's one of those, with this day and age, I think I said that before. And we're shuffling this right back together. Oh my gosh, I shuffled the stingray back into the deck. I shuffled the stingray back into the deck. Oh no, I didn't. It's right here. Okay. I was like, whoa, hold up. It fell off the table. I saw the elk and the whale. Ooh, the zebra just flipped out with the shark. Is the zebra shark a thing? I know a tiger shark is a thing. Or is that just like a Disney thing? I know, what's that one movie? Is it a Navy, Army movie? Hayden Panettiere? Disney, is it like Tiger Shark or something? The cobra flipped over. When the student is ready, the master appears. Excuse me, bottom of the deck is the bunny. Is a zebra shark a thing? I'm pretty sure. I know a zebra fish is a thing from Animal Crossing. Zebra shark. Zebra spider. Okay. Yeah, it is a thing. Okay. A zebra shark. It's totally a thing. Why is this a zebra shark? It looks more spotted. It's like looking like a leopard to me. Or a cheetah. You see that? That's a zebra shark, apparently. A species of carpet shark and the only extant member of the family Stegostomatidae, found throughout the tropical Indo-Pacific, frequenting coral reefs and sandy flats to a depth of 62 meters. Is that like Thailand? Indo-Pacific? Yeah, off of Thailand. Interesting. So we have the Sanctum of Truth in Thailand with this zebra shark that lives around Thailand. Okay. What was that other word I wanted to look up? Expiate? During the day, they're sluggish and usually found resting on the sea bottom, sometimes using their pectoral fins to prop up the front part of their bodies and facing into the current with their mouths open to facilitate respiration. They become more active at night or when food becomes available. Zebra sharks are strong and agile swimmers, propelling themselves with pronounced anguilliform, eel-like undulations of the body and tail. In a steady current, they have been seen hovering in place with sinuous waves of their tails. They primarily feed on shelled mollusks, like oysters, question mark, though it takes crustaceans, small bony fishes, and possibly sea snakes. Okay, we saw the snake and the sea serpent. That's fine. We ain't got to get all the way into it. What? Known parasites of the zebra shark include 4 species of tapeworms. Okay, I don't know what. I mean, there was the energy of the pest in what the mouse, and it's like you're not gonna catch a mouse in a spider web. Um, interesting. Expiate definition: atone for. Okay. Atone for guilt or sin. Their sins must be expiated by sacrifice. Girl, not the sacrifice that we saw. It's like sacrifice not necessary. Oh, I mentioned sea serpents, but we got the cobra over here. Was it a stingray? I think it was stingrays. So this is actually kind of interesting. You know, in the lore of Rio Karuki and Patrickisms. The interesting thing about the stingray is I had a dream one time years ago now that I was helping out some lovely folks. And there used to be this thing. I feel like I used to be able to do it a lot better. A way that I used to be able to navigate dreams a lot better, a lot easier. I feel like these days it's kind of sort of like I am where I am and we're doing what we're doing and I don't have any control. Um, but it's interesting because I thought about this the other day. Um, it's kind of been on my mind lately, interestingly enough. But I was helping out some folks, and then at the end of the dream, I taught one of the people how I dream walk. And he wanted to go to like Africa. And I was like, so we did the thing and ended up in a like Steve Irwin. You know how, at least here in the States, sometimes you'll get someone that from like a petting zoo or a animal sanctuary or something that'll come into like an elementary school room and they'll have like different animals and then like animal facts and stuff like that. So it ended up being something like that. And there was a chest full of animals, like toy animals. And the kid, like, there was a stingray in there. And I was like, are there even stingrays in Africa? But apparently there are in Nigeria in like rivers or something. So it's interesting that the stingray is here when we're talking about the zebrafish and how it um, is around that Thailand area. Along with the pincushion ray, the Niger stingray is one of the 2 freshwater stingrays in Africa. Learned that from a kid in a dream. I was like, whoa. There are animals that I was like, I don't even remember the names of. I was just like, oh, what is that? Now that could have just been brain mumbo jumbo nonsense because it was a dream. But the stingray, on one side, the cover on the other. Cool. I could get a dragon deck. I mean, the two dragon decks I have are the Star Dragon Oracle and the Dragon Oracle, which every now and then it depends. I think for me, sometimes it's a little too whatever. I feel like the Sanctum of Truth is kind of sort of sitting as this place. I don't know if the Sanctum of Truth lies in the gaze of the dragon, but it feels like as the deer reveals itself to be the dragon, as the truth of the deer is revealed, then the truth of ourselves is also revealed. But without a mirror, and the mirror is the dragon, it may be difficult to kind of like notice how we've changed unless it's something drastic, right? Like your truth is revealed and you're several feet taller or shorter, then it's like, you know, your vantage point will change. But if a deer reveals itself to be a dragon, then you know your vantage point is probably going to change regardless. You know what I mean? Like if you go from looking here to like all the way up there, you may feel like you've shrank. um I actually had that dream. I was thinking about that dream like yesterday. It was weird. I had a dream. Usually when I have a dream that I'm observing something, it's like I'm watching something and I'm not actually there. It's only happened to my recollection a few times, like literally two that I can think of, maybe a few more, when I've been observed as the observer of the dream. And one of them was with this, it was like a dragon in the dream. And then the dream went from like just like casual watching things play out to like, oh my gosh, I feel like my life is in danger. I was like, whoa. And that dragon was like, oh, what are you doing here? And I'm like, girl, I was like, I'm sleeping. I'm literally dreaming. Like, this is a dream. And the dragon was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, watch how this plays out. Watch how this unfolds. And I was like, okay. There was some stuff that went down in the dream, and no one else was able to observe or see me except the dragon. So I just ended up like watching, right? And I was like, wow, okay, interesting. But yeah, it had me like, if you can imagine like a dragon's talons, it just like had one of them, like it was squishing me against the ground, and it was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's a dream. It's a dream. You know, it's a prank, bro. It's a prank. I'm like, it's a dream. I'm dreaming. I can't control this. I'm just here. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, it's like in the presence of this energy, the truth of things is revealed, and it feels like there's like a shocking surprise about someone that is revealed in that truth. More so in a way that's like, you know, more than they thought they were type energy. But again, without a mirror, I don't know how this stingray energy would necessarily. Also, this is so funny. I was riding with my grandma, right? And she went to get some gas. Somebody was playing Moana, which is also interesting because Moana is like the only movie I have on my laptop. I have more like Yu Yu Hakusho and some like other TV shows and movies and stuff on my desktop. But when the power went out and there was no Wi-Fi, I still had a little bit of juice on my laptop, right? and I saw Moana. Anyway, we go to the gas station today, and Moana is playing. I was like, "Is that Moana?" Like, I ain't heard Moana in years. But literally a few days ago, it's the only movie I have on my laptop. And in the movie Moana, the stingray is her grandmother. Right after her grandmother transitions, her spirit question mark is reincarnated into or lives in or is signified by a stingray. So it's interesting again, like the truth of things, how the stingray is more than just a stingray, it's also her grandmother. Could be something, anyway. Maybe they see it. Again, I feel like that's the part, because we live our lives behind our eyes. And so without an image or something reflective, we don't really get to see what we look like or ourselves. I feel like there's like, I don't know, I feel like I just need to like exist for a minute. But also, I don't want to just be sitting here for 5 minutes like rebooting. I mean, we do have a dragon. There are also dragons. I have, it's not a fairy tale tarot. It's some kind of legends. I think it's like the Legends Tarot or Legends Tarot that has dragons in it. There are dragons in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I wasn't necessarily feeling like digging into the box today. Not that it's like a hassle or anything, but I was like, let's use the cards that are over here today. And I do have the Star Dragons. Maybe we'll take the dragon from the Star Dragons. I was gonna use the Wild Unknown al- archetypes. I was gonna use the Wild Unknown archetypes, and I still could. Excuse me. Because then with the archetypes, it could be an archetype of the self that's like revealed, right? Now we also have this cobra waiting out. Are there cobras in Thailand? Probably. Question mark. Maybe. Well, a cobra, maybe not. Snakes, definitely. King cobra, endemic to Asia. So, yeah. Thailand has an abundance of venomous snakes. There are three species of the genus Naja cobras. So you have bungarus, the king cobra. Oh, three from the genus bungarus, crates, and the king cobra. So not only are there cobras in Thailand, the king cobra is in Thailand. Okay. So Sanctum of Truth in Thailand, we got zebra sharks that are off the coast, and we got cobras, to which they have the kings. Now, what's interesting about that is the Cobra in this deck is a mentor, a teacher, a guide, a guru, a master. The energy of the Sanctum of Truth with the deer actually being a dragon, and then like it's not any teacher, it's not any mentor, or guru, or guide. It's like a king cobra. So like one of the decorated, celebrated, a mentor of renown. Okay, cool. I don't have an ascendant master deck. Even I feel like even if I did, it wouldn't. You know. Where do we go from here? Gemini is always listening. Gemini's gonna be like, I don't understand. Hey Google, where do we go from here? It's not listening. Hey Google. Hey Google. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Why do you do this now? It's like I gotta do it twice. Once to wake it up, and then the second time to actually answer or ask the question. Where do we go from here? Oh, girl. Hold up, go back, go back. Hey Google. Where do we go from here?
Wherever you want. We can tackle a new project, solve a problem, or just chat. What's on your mind?
Girl, no, that's not what I was looking for. The answer is wherever you want. I don't know where I want to go. I don't know. There was that one. It was the one song. How far I'll go. And I feel like it was that one part where she's like, every step I take, every trail I track. You know that part. I'm not gonna look up lyrics. I feel like I don't know where to go. Maybe I can just end it here. It's already been like 40 minutes. That's crazy. I ain't even done nothing. And where did I put my water? I made sure I filled it up before I went live. I've been needing to hydrate. If you catch my drifts, been sweating a lot. It's been warm. Now, there's the obvious Angelarium, Manuel, Angel of Truth. Excuse me. I mean, I already said I was going to do this. What unknown archetypes, right? Every road leads back where I want to be. See the line where the sky meets the sea. Don't come for me. I made Disney. I don't own the rights to that music. How far I'll go. Interesting. Zebra sharks, cobras, king cobras, girl. The king. I think there is a king archetype, actually. There's a king and a queen. Are we going to look before and after the queen? The king. The medallion, the mystic, the decorated mystic. See? The medallion and the mystic. With the king cobra being that decorated master, mentor, guide, guru, teacher. And then there's the medallion there. Okay. I like it, come on. And then the shapeshifter with the medallion. The deer is a dragon. There is a mirror archetype. I don't know if there's a dragon archetype. There's a card with the 3 serpents on it. That's the healer. Okay. One more after this. We'll give it a cut. How am I doing this? I'm going to use the book. The deer was on the top. The deer came off the top. The deer came off the bottom. The stingray came off the top. So for the position of the deer within its element, I'm going to pull that one from the bottom, and then the same for the stingray. So within the element of earth, first is the bear. So it's 1, 2. Got to make sure I don't get multiple pages. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The 11th one from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I didn't expect this from the deer. I did not expect this from the deer. It's the destroyer. Okay, girl. Maybe we just leave the destroyer as a deer. You know what I mean? Now, stingray. 1, 2. Easy. It's the second card from the top. The prayer, number 65. 6 plus 5 is 11. The 1 is at the bottom of the deck. I mean, if we're talking about the sanctum of truth, then one shouldn't be surprised when the 1 is there. Excuse me. The destroyer and the prayer. So it's really kind of like this. So is the destroyer. I mean, I feel like, again, because of the king cobra, there's no more king than like the destroyer. Like within that realm of the creator, the sustainer, the destroyer, Lord Shiv. And we did see the imagery of Lord Shiva in the Hierophant. It was the 2 of Wands, the Hierophant, and the 3 of Wands. 23, the 2 and the 3 of Wands. Between the 2 and the 3 of Wands was the Hierophant, which was Lord Shiva, which is the destroyer. And we have 23 here today. Oh, girl. Imagine you're in a park and there's a deer that runs by and you're like, oh my gosh, how majestic. And you look at the deer and then the facade and the illusion melts away and it's the destroyer. And you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm sorry. The stingray is the prayer. Which is also the zebrafish on this side. The zebra shark, sorry. The zebra shark. Now, the one thing, actually, some snakes do go into the water. I don't know if king cobras are semi-aquatic, because I was going to say, even like They're in the same environment, but they're not necessarily in the same habitat, right? King cobra, semi-aquatic, question mark? Or I guess I could have just said aquatic and not semi-aquatic, because if it's semi-aquatic and I ask if it's aquatic, it'll tell me it's semi-aquatic. The snake has developed gills to breathe underwater. The hood gradually shortened to lower water resistance when it's chasing its prey, and the scales turn blue to blend in with the aquatic environment. These adaptations allow the king cobra to continue to survive in the wild in the aqueous environment. They are specifically adapted for the water. So, yes, same environment, same location. Girl, you may see a zebra shark on one side and a king cobra on the other. Interesting. It's the world's longest venomous snake and among the heaviest king cobras, which is interesting because we saw the basilisk yesterday. We had the basilisk and the plume serpent yesterday, right? The basilisk that was so vile, not vile, toxic, that it just like destroys everything in its environment. But here, the destroyer, which is the dragon, which is the mentor, guru, guide, the celebrated, decorated, honored, esteemed mentor, guru, guide, King Cobra is the destroyer. Now, with that destroyer, Lord Shiv, there is the Amrita question mark, the poison that's transmuted into something medicinal. I don't know. It's just interesting that like the largest, most venomous snake on the planet is the guide today, the master that appears before the student who is ready. But we're in the sanctum of truth, and I don't. I mean, you got again sharks on one side, a king cobra on the other. Um, it's like while it is true that they're not animals to necessarily f around and play weak, um, it's only like a part of those animals. You know what I mean? And so while certain truths can be, I almost want to say, hyper communicated, over exaggerated, exclusively, while certain truths can be exclusively communicated to create a sense of fear around certain energies, within the sanctum of truth, the whole truth is evident. So, whatever medicine, whatever the destroyer King Cobra has to teach, it can also teach. Now, it's funny or interesting because I went looking also. So we had the Lord Shiv Hierophant in the Astral Matrix Tarot that gave the Maitreya question mark because the Buddhism lions, foo dogs came out. Um, took me to the Revelations Hierophant, also the Revelations Destroyer with that superimposition. And the Destroyer was literally right next to the Hierophant. And the destroyer in the destroyer card is the destroyer of obstacles. So if we but I feel like again that's part of this in the sanctum of truth. There are full truths. There's a whole truth, and not the selective truths that we're told to form a disproportionate perspective on something. Right? If we only stop at the destroyer, then the destroyer can be something to fear, and it's an energy of embodiment, but it's the destroyer of obstacles. right? And that's like, oh, like, why didn't you say that? Oh my gosh. The destroyer of late fees and overdraft fees, and the destroyer of bad food and poor culinary service. The creator of a good vibe and a good time. You know what I mean? But you don't like, it's not marketed that way. It's just the destroyer. And the destroyer of obstacles is like, hey, I'm here to remove like your obstacles. You said that you were ready, you were like praying and manifesting for, forward progression and movement. I'm here to destroy the obstacles in your way. And we're just like, destroyer. No, thank you. We're fine. And it's like, okay, girl. Hey, if you know, which is funny because that story of the person who was meditating in the woods to meet the Buddha and then shooed the Buddha away came out recently. The energy of it came out recently. Anyway, I don't know why the stingray is necessarily the prayer, but we do see the full spectrum of colors in this prayer card, right? You get your reds, oranges, yellows, and then your greens, blues, and violets. A touch of those over here. They're more aligned and distinct in the stingray, but they're also present in the prayer. The one is at the bottom of the deck. Can we take this even further? Now we have the Axe of Shiva that removes corruption in both the Tower card and the Corruptor specifically. The Tower card in both editions, and the Corruptor in the Revelations edition. Revelation, Sanctum of Truth. Um, I feel like my brain just like isn't working. And it's just like we're running with it. You know what I mean? That's a line in Disney's Hercules. What's happening? Is that when is it Polyphemus? It may not be. Is it Antaeus? It may be Antaeus. Um I feel like there's a part where there one guy's like, we're walking, we're walking, we're running, we're running. I forget what's happening. Anyway. Sometimes I can just sit, you know. The prayer 65 is the devil in the Hierophant. 15 and 6, the second 6. No, the second 6 and the first 5, the devil and the Hierophant. I feel like this prayer is actually kind of obscuring things. And my vibe isn't necessarily to always make plain or clear everything, obviously. Like there are certain truths and certain things that are worthy of protection, and I honor that. Right. So like a good title card, even though, every now and then, a good title card, a good high priestess, sometimes even a good moon card, but more so the title card and the high priestess. It's for me to know when I need to like mind my business. Now, and she came out, the Ivory Shield came out literally because what was it? The Demiurge, the Wheel of Life. No, it was the Empress and the High Priestess. the demiurge and the wheel of life, and then like that title card with the ivory shield. She's my BTFU, STFU, mind your business queen, right? Not everything is for everyone to know. Not everything is necessarily to be revealed. And I feel like the more I kind of sort of feel into this prayer, the more like like the thicker the fog becomes. And this fog is around the truth of the stingray, right? Because it's the sanctum of truth. So when the deer reveals itself to be the dragon, then the truth of the stingray is also revealed. And it's that, like, as the energy reads, whoever this resonates for, if this resonates for anyone, question mark, question mark, question mark, would be the stingray. But then there's that whole, like, if there's no mirror, how would the stingray even tell that they've also shifted when the deer shifts into the dragon? How would the stingray see their own truth? And then there's like this foggy prayer energy. Part of me is like, do we respect it and move on? Another part of me is like, do we dig into it? Now, there is, I feel like we saw the fog actually yesterday. We did see the fog yesterday. But I feel like if I were to think about it, if the fog clears, it would be like not the eyes of this destroyer. I don't know. The destroyer is coming through. I keep wanting to say exonerated, and I know that that's not the word that I want, but because it is the destroyer, because the king cobra is the largest, most venomous snake, maybe there is an, and then expiation was like, what's that? And it was atonement, right? Yeah, to atone for. Um, the action of officially absolving someone from blame, vindication, the release of someone from a duty or obligation. I looked up exoneration because I keep wanting to say like the exonerated instead of like the exalted. Like the word that keeps coming into mind is like exonerated, exonerated. The exonerated guru, mentor, guide, whatever. In that case, this, I feel like it just got so cold. Right, girl. Maybe that's why the fog of this prayer is so thick. It is thick. Because it reads like the passing of a mantle. And that's the exoneration. Like the cobra is being exonerated because the stingray is taking over, but not in a way of like usurpation or like anything was wrong. It feels like a natural inheritance, succession type energy. Like there's a new destroyer in town, and apparently it's the stingray. Because I was going to be like, well, the snake is on the land and the zebra shark is in the water, but king cobras apparently have adapted, evolved for that aquatic environment. Now, what is interesting about that is with the turtle that I also don't remember seeing. I don't know what came out on the other side of that turtle. I talked about it recently. It could have been with Kenyon. It could have been another elevated being. I think his channel name is David Little Elk. It was a while ago. There was a being of light, a light that was chasing some kind of darkness, and the darkness fled into the water. And the being of light couldn't chase after it in the water, so it asked the turtle to do it, right? But this cobra can go into the water. Now, to be fair, the cobra did come out with the archetype of the destroyer. It could be the destroyer of shadows, the banisher of darkness. That's a little extreme, but the destroyer of shadows, sure. It can get into the water itself. And because the stingray is already in the water, because the zebra shark is already in the water, is this energy adapting to the land? Question mark. I don't know. I feel like I don't know where we've been this whole time. And again, HFYTFN. Hey Google. Hey Google, flip a coin, please. Why don't you just work? Flip a coin, flip a coin, flip a coin. Oh, I can literally type it. Flip a coin. It's flipping heads. So yeah, I was like, do I dig into this foggy prayer type energy? Now, low hanging fruit, meaning more easily digestible. This could be someone praying for, wishing for, manifesting something. And instead of like, see, it's interesting because the master appears, but the master appears to teach, not to do. Someone becomes what they've prayed for through the circumstances of life and through someone's ability to show up, be bold and courageous. They become the answer to their prayers. Now, is it giving the Santa Claus? Where it's like, okay, this is your job now. I've taught you everything I know. So now when people come looking for me, they'll be looking for you. It's like, oh my God, you're the only apprentice of this person, of this energy. And it's like, wait, excuse me. But the one is here. With the one being at the bottom of the deck too, girl, that's a lot. And now I feel like I'm getting warm. Now I'm wondering what I'm gonna eat. I do have an Oreo cookie. I'm gonna eat an Oreo. I'm gonna mute the mic while I eat this Oreo. And I'm gonna think about what I do next. I got these BTS Oreos. Shout out to Shayna. I don't know if she's into BTS, but I feel like she is, right? Xenodax Media. At least it was a minute ago. I could be outdated. I'm just like, sometimes my brain just skips the old stuff. She may still be Xenodax. Ooh, the Seeker and the Ace of Swords. Seek and ye shall find. This is confirmation for me. So I decided to go with the Vitruvian edition of the SKT because the Wheel of Life. Okay. What the bread of life? The Wheel of Life and the bread of life at the bottom of the deck. Okay. I decided to go for this deck because in the Revelations edition, the Ivory Shield is more revealing than she is in the Vitruvian edition. And I have the title card and the High Priestess to, like, if I'm not supposed to ask or dive into it, then I won't. Because it doesn't necessarily feel like an energy that I shouldn't try to dive into. It's just like the more I kind of look at it, the foggier it gets. Now, is this a labyrinthine kind of whatever? I mean, the Ace of Swords came out with that other card that I already forgot. What was it? And I was like, okay, the Seeker and the Ace of Swords. I was like, okay. So it's like permission, but maybe that's the thing. Like, just because permission is granted doesn't necessarily mean that we'll find our way. Right? Maybe the fog is a trial in and of itself. Like, we've been given the right to take a test. We've been given the right to attempt a trial. But just because we can take a test or just because we can attempt a trial doesn't mean that we're automatically granted, bestowed, given, whatever. Right? We've won the right to prove ourselves. We've won the right to take the trial. And that's it. There's no entitlement to what lies on the other side. We just have the right to attempt. That's why it's almost very like, girl, sometimes you gotta not have somebody to hold your hand, but you don't want to, walk off the side. Stronghold of the Zephyrs, Ace of Swords with a message. It's actually the eyes of the owl in that fog card. So to see the owl descending with that letter, I'm like, okay. And again, I'm looking the prayers here. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. Bottom of the deck is New World Order. The card that just flipped over is the Mason. 21 is a 3. The 3 of Pentacles is a 3. It's interesting that it's New World Order. You can see in this card, the tunnel isn't built yet. Just like that Sanctum of Truth in Thailand. As of the information that I got from Google, the museum is open and you can go in and explore, but it's not finished. And so to have this tunnel, this bridge, this in-between space that's also not finished, interesting. Also, yesterday, we saw the 3 of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Ace of Cups as the 3 bottom cards on the side of the Phoenix. The Phoenix and the Dragon. How did I not see it? How did I not know before? The Phoenix is that, you could say, divine feminine aspect, and the dragon is the divine masculine aspect. And I don't want to say in Chinese occultism, because Benabella is more of an authority on that than I am. The phoenix represents the feminine. The phoenix represents the feminine aspect. The dragon represents the masculine. We saw the phoenix yesterday, which is interesting because the dragon is revealing the truth of who and what he is. And if the dragon is revealing the truth of who and what he is, then would it not be to a phoenix? Question mark. What was on the other side of the phoenix? I don't remember. But the phoenix was on the side of the deer. I'm pretty sure the phoenix came out on the left side. I don't remember what was on the right. And then you do have like this winged bird. Oh my gosh, under New World Order is the demon and the Holy See, that devil and Hierophant energy. 15, 6, and 5. See, here they are bound. But in the sanctum of truth, they are free. Interesting. Under the Holy See is the outlaw, which is the mirror of New World Order. Within the mirror of 1221, we have devil and Hierophant energy. Under the outlaw is the seeker. So the bottom 5 cards are all majors. That's the seeker. We saw the seeker with the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords would cut the outlaw free, would cut the rope. Interesting. And this is a 0 and a 3. 30 is the 1. 3-0. Interesting. Interesting. I guess we'll do all 5. The Shining Flame, Lightning and the Pyre is under that. Lightning and the Pyre. I just got to make sure the food text didn't go out. I'm ready to cook. Sorry. Who am I looking for? The Ivory Shield. Interesting. Power and authority of air. And the Nocturne, 2 of Orbs. Before the Scarlet Shield, power and authority of air is the Keeper. There's our Corvid. After the Nocturne is the Shining Dew, Waters and Waves. And we saw 2 Kings of Cups yesterday. Under the Shining Dew is the Necromancer, which is Pisces. Under the Necromancer is the Emperor. Under the Emperor is the Healer. Under the Healer is the Erudite. And under the Erudite is the Demiurge. Again, we have this run of majors. Now, the interesting thing about the Nocturne is we see 2 worlds on the Nocturne. And it's especially interesting because at the bottom of the deck, remember, if you recall, we had just this, like between New World Order and this devil energy, breaking the chains, setting the Phoenix and Dragon free, and then this New World Order. Right? Also, on the shield of the Scarlet Shield, we have this Mesoamerican imagery, which we saw the plume serpent yesterday. But also, there is the eagle eating the snake, which symbolizes order, the return of order, right? And that energy winning, winning, winning. Also, this is the space of the Knight of Cups, the Moon, the Emperor, the Star, and the Hermit. So it's interesting that between Pisces and Virgo, between the Moon and the Hermit, is the Emperor and the Star, the Emperor and the Healer. Right? Just like we had that 2112 between New World Order and the Outlaw with um who is that? Taurus and Capricorn? We got Aries and Aquarius over here. Yeah, New World Order, because on one side we have the North Node with its wheel world, and the South Node. These wills are already established as the will of life, which we saw, right? Remember the will of life and the bread of life? New World Order. This is literally choosing the new world. So it's the destroyer of the old world, the destroyer of all things that have reached the end of the line, the destroyer of things that have met their time. Okay. And it kind of feels like this Scarlet Shield is like sneaking the sword. It's unexpected, but that's kind of what the energy of like that sudden and abrupt truth, like it's also unexpected. It's like suddenly snapping out of an illusion or a delusion or whatever, seeing the deer as the dragon, and then seeing the truth of oneself again. Should we consult the LWB? I feel like I don't read this LWB enough. LWB is Little White Book, which is sometimes the little book that comes in the box with your cards. Stronghold of the Flame. So we got strongholds, not too far off. Are we going up? Yeah, we're going up. The Shining Ones, the Shields. Ivory, no, Scarlet Shield. The Scarlet Shield, Queen of Swords. He, the Queen of Swords, is a shorn one, an Aztec warrior priest who shall be your formidable line of defense as you charge forth confidently to face your battles. His shield features an eagle devouring a serpent, a divine omen from the gods. When the Scarlet Shield appears to you, he is making his presence known so that you might go forth into combat, taking your stand with might and confidence. When the Scarlet Shield appears, it is time for you to stand your ground, hold your position, and this warrior priest is here, ready to face the fight with you. A male ancestor or one from your paternal lineage can appear to you through the Scarlet Shield. 17 points tattooed on his dominant hand mark his great triumphs. 17 points. And then major arcana number 17 is the star, which we see on the other side of this emperor. And you see the star on her head and then like the flower on his ear. Literally. It's a destruction that brings healing, which, with the energy of Amrita, the acts of Shiva that removes corruption, it's no surprise. But you gotta do it. You gotta do the thing. The Nocturne, Two of Orbs. Work harder and double down. Shoulder more commitments and steer your ship through the rough tides. Carpe Noctem. Work at your dreams late into the night. Harder than everybody else, and the gods will reward you for your dedication. The Nocturne is balancing change after the dark night of the soul. It bears good tidings because this is the spirit of commerce, enterprise, and far reaching new ventures after past failures and disappointments. Forming a lemniscate around the twin promises of project is the alchemical black dragon, gnawing its own tail. And this is the totem, the daemon, brought before you by the Nocturne. The black dragon's venom is also the great medicine. Past suffering, sires, future opportunity. So again, according to one card, you've been working harder than anybody, and you've attracted the attention of the divine. On the other side is a divine omen of this warrior priest who stands with you, fighting beside you. All of this effort recognized. And you're also being supported. Again, and this is coming off of the prayer. The prayer, which is seeking some divine support. It's not doing it for you. And it feels like it's, yeah. Because again, there is an energy because of that exoneration that kept coming through. There is an energy of some kind of inheritance of duty. Maybe it's like you passed the trial with such flying colors that it's like, it's almost like, imagine like, I don't know, there's enough magic schools that have I was literally watching Witch Hat Atelier, and they're doing their second test in the Serpent Cavern. Um, you know, and it's this like labyrinthine maze. It's so that only the worthy can make it to the city before it fell into, what any place can fall into. It was a trial so that only the worthy would be able to make it to the city. But it's almost like doing so well in the test or during the trial that whoever the conductors are, they're like, hey, like, do you want to work here? Do you want to teach? Like, it's clear that there's nothing that we could teach you, but you could do future generations a great service by, aiding in their education, which is also interesting because in the last Secrets of Strixhaven booster pack, there was that whole like no magic allowed during the test type energy. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Shout out to Kiki Palmer. That was so funny. Y'all remember that? Diabolical. Anyway, um, don't. It's funny, but don't. Just if you don't get it, let it be. Trust me. Let it go. Yeah, it's almost that kind of energy. It's like, hey, do you want to teach? You want a job here? And it's like, wait. Rita? You're like, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be surprised to see like these kind of turns of energy. Take it as it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. Don't force it. Don't make it. Look at the similarities between the wolf and the hawk. The wolf is the one that waits. And so first it was the bee with the wolf, and then it was the wolf and the hawk. Now it's the horse and the hawk, but the horse came out as like that no-horned unicorn. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Right? The no-horned unicorn, like, oh, we're all just like unzipping the whatever. And you're like, how did you fit all that dragon in that little deer costume? What? But I think that's kind of sort of another thing. There is an energy of almost like unlearning maybe certain biases or prejudices. Unicorn in this one. See one unicorn energy, recognize another unicorn energy. She said, oh yeah. And you may not even know that you're a unicorn. You're just like, whoa, hold up. The tarantula came out, and the earthworm is at the bottom of the deck with the unicorn behind the earthworm. See, that's the interesting thing about the sanctum of truth. Many things will be revealed in the sanctum of truth. Some deer will be revealed to be dragons, and some sea serpents will be revealed to be earthworms. And they're blind, which is obviously no shade to, not to be ableist, especially me, especially when it comes to the eye. It's not to be ableist, but it's just very like they're kind of sort of like operating by the seat of their pants, flying by the seat of their pants type energy, kind of just like winging it. And it's not that anybody has to know everything or whatever, but it's like they've been faking it and they still haven't been able to make it. There's some flavors of making that you just can't fake. And in that sanctum of truth, it's like those truths are revealed. Or there's an environmental aspect with the tarantula. Because again, with the king cobra has evolved to also be aquatic. So it can make that transition between water and land in a way that not every energy necessarily can. And maybe the earthworm. And I guess that's the thing about earthworms and water. I saw the bird with a worm yesterday. When it's wet, they come to the surface and they're prime pickings for the birds. We saw it wasn't a worm, but just like there was the robin with the earthworm yesterday, there's the eagle with the serpent. I just put these back in this box. I was like, why do I have so much room in there? Hello. Um, yeah. And maybe that in and of itself is kind of a message, right? Before the energy of the sanctum of truth, before we face certain truths, there are these great serpents that appear so ominous and spooky and powerful. But under that sanctum of truth, you realize it's just a little earthworm. Hello. And maybe that's why it clung so hard to like illusion, because it relied on those illusions to be intimidating or to intimidate and bully. And then when you see the truth, you're like, girl, who's afraid of you? Nobody. And then you know how sometimes if it's like you're half asleep and you wake up and there's a shadow and you like give yourself a fright, but then it's like a sweater hanging off a chair and you're like, okay, and you feel kind of silly. And then your heart rate comes back down. Final SKT, Vitruvian card, please. Bottom of the deck is the Empress. Gloria Mundi, Orania's Gate. With the Swan. She's giving Phoenix energy. The card that came out is Saturn in Taurus, which is Saturn's next. Oh, girl. Saturn is in Aries, I'm pretty sure right now, which means it's coming for Taurus next. I was like, the Seven of Pentacles, okay. But the Seven of Pentacles and the Empress. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of cultivation, which is putting in the TLC so that the crop yields a harvest. But Empress energy radiates fertility. And so maybe it's almost a work smarter, not harder kind of energy. Because if the energy of the Empress is available to you and you know how to like exude it, project it, then a lot of the, I almost want to say tedium, a lot of the nitty gritty that goes into cultivating and growing can be not bypassed, relaxed, because things just naturally thrive under the energy, under the influence of the Empress. So that's kind of why it's like work smarter, not harder. Like if you can tap into the Empress, it'll basically grow by itself. All you have to do is plant the seeds. So it's kind of like knowing where best to put your efforts, knowing where and how, right? And last but not least, we got the well-known archetypes. The crone and the vessel. For some reason today, the crone is reading like her vessel is, oh girl, I do not mean no disrespect towards any crone energies, and y'all know that. But crones don't carry like maidens and mothers. Because it's, you could almost say like with the toll that it takes on the body, with all that needs to be provided, the crone is in an area where she like feeds into herself. And she shows up in other ways as that wise, respected elder. I feel like there's some crone that's like, what you trying to say? Not too much. Elder. Like she does different things in her way. And it's not that she can't be a vessel, but again, with the toll it takes, there's a certain level of strenuousness that it's harder for her to pay, question mark, or the cost is like multiplied. There's like a tax on top of the toll type energy. Y'all know what I'm trying to say? Ooh, 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 oh, that's a lot of cards that slid out. We'll honor them. Why not? Bottom of the deck is the Queen. Okay, we saw the energy of the King. King Cobra. Meet Queen Anaconda. I don't know. We have the Self that came out almost sideways, more reverse than sideways. Which is interesting because the One was at the bottom of the deck. That one came out by itself. The Self came out by itself. There's a whole little mini stack that came out together, and we're going to reveal them from top to the bottom. First, we have the Desert, number 37. Then we have the castle, number 43. The desert castle, the castle in the deserts. We have the seed, number LX66. Then we have the crone. I was literally gonna say that's like literally crone energy. Right? The desert with the seed, like, depending on the seed it'll thrive, but the environment of the desert isn't necessarily one that caters to, depending on the seed, the environment isn't very hospitable. And it's not that it can't, but it's that toll on top of, what was it, a tax on top of the toll. So in the desert castle, there is a seed, and then we have the crone, number 13. And finally, it's the ocean, number 35. Okay. Oh, girl, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was an intrusive thought. I didn't even have time to think it. This crone said, desert where, girl? Anywhere I go, the waters will flow. Okay? Inhospitable. Hello, Crone said, well, hey, maybe use a special kind of Crone energy. See, but again, I feel like with, maybe it's like societal norms and maybe expectations placed upon women. And as a man who is not a woman, I can only speak from the outside. Um, but it can seem like when one is a maiden, there's a certain point in time where you get to like live for yourself, but then there's like, training to be a wife and a mother someday. When someone is a mother, they're raising the kids and they're tending to their husband and they're doing all the other stuff. Everything is for everyone else. And when the mother becomes a crone, it's almost like it can be that time where she gets to invest in herself and give to herself, because so much of her life has been spent caring for and preparing to care for others. It's just like different when you're a crone, right? And so for the self to be in reverse while the crone is here between the seed and the ocean, but the queen is at the bottom of the deck. Maybe when one is a queen, they still got responsibilities. I don't know. It doesn't feel, I don't know. Every crone is different. Some crones still want to, do and do and do and give and give and give. It's not that she's passing up her turn, but there's an energy of responsibility there. And then look, there's a serpent. Under the crown is the nectar. And, oh my gosh, no. Not the unseen nectar. The unseen nectar. We got the crown in the ocean. We got the unseen nectar with the queen. Under the unseen is the vision on its side. The crone sees the vision. Or the queen, who is the crone, sees the vision. And so she heads out to give once more. So, and then the prayer is at the top of the deck. And maybe all of that is a metaphor for that kind of energy. right? Because there was that energy of that stingray is kind of inheriting a mantle in some way, shape, form, and fashion. And so, after all of the showing up that someone's done, again, with that Scarlet Shield and what was the other card? I know the Three of Pentacles was on the table. Excuse me, the Nocturne. It's like with everything that someone has already done and with the things that they still do, it is almost like instead of the reward being someone being able to tire in peace, there's like kind of sort of stepping up, right? And maybe it's one of those things where the crone and the queen don't see it as a loss or a sacrifice, right? Because again, no sacrifice necessary, no sacrifice required. So it's silly to demand sacrifice. And the crone doesn't see it that way. So whenever the master is approaching the right one. Because I feel like, again, maybe it's the lazy in me. Maybe it's the, when it's well deserved rest, it's well deserved. And you gotta rest before you burn out or break down. And maybe it is duty and obligation. I don't know. Maybe it's deeper than that for the crone because there's a whole ocean. Duty and obligation are drops within that ocean. It's more complex than that, but maybe they're not completely non factors either. Um, yeah, that's cool. Love it. Love it. So take it as it resonated. If it resonated, if it don't resonate, don't take it. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting on it. Make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, way you find, and in facing the truth of you, I hope you like step up to the plate. Now, the thing about the fog in the prayer could also be it's like when something puts off a lot of heat. It's almost giving more like X-Men Wolverine. I don't remember which movie that was. It's like whenever someone goes into a thing like a med bay or whatever, and they're about to emerge, like they reemerge, and there's like and the like the fog and the steam or whatever that comes out, and then the door opens, and then they step out a whole new person. She's giving girl, what's her name? Steve Rogers. I was like, not Bucky. It's giving Steve Rogers, right? The transformation is complete, the process is complete, all the fog and steam, they whatever, and then it reveals the truth of who someone is. And we saw the Empress again with the dragon that came out. If the dragon is there, who else is the dragon going to show up for? If the truth of the dragon being revealed forces or catalyzes the truth of that stingray being revealed, what kind of energy would it be but a phoenix? But that counterpart. And again, we saw the Empress. The Queen was at the bottom of the deck. There's that phoenix energy that shows up for the dragon. So of course, right? And maybe it's not even a complete exoneration. Maybe it's a partial exoneration, right? Maybe there's an energy that has been wearing multiple hats because it's had to. But now, as the truth of the stingray is being revealed, now they can operate in a partnership, right? So maybe dragon energy is like, I'm no longer the this and the that. I'm just this because now the that has sort of come back. So again, take it as it resonates. Take it as it resonates. If it resonates, if it don't resonate, don't take it. And I'll catch y'all next time. That was interesting and more than I expected. But honestly, with how out of the blue that deer came out, I shouldn't have been too surprised about this. White-tailed deer. I'm just like, whoa. And it was at a point where there were like two other people who were also approaching. I mean, they were two women. I don't know if that matters. I mean, we saw the Empress and the Crone, and I'm just some dude that was there. Hold my stick, sending a video to Eve to be like, look at me, walking around with this big old stick. Maybe the deer thought it was like antlers from a certain vantage point, right? Because I'm holding the stick here, and then it see me, so on the side is just like branches behind me. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later.